Hello there guys, welcome back to another lightning round of Disney's Lorcana gameplay. This was recorded from our release event on Saturday, the day after the game officially released, so we've got some beginner level, at least attempting to be entry level decks here. No completely modified competitive decks yet, as people are settling into their groove. Today we've got an entire 3-round match for you, brought to you by IRL Cards. Down to 15 minutes for your viewing pleasure. Player one's going to go ahead and ink their Duke of Weaselton and running out the Stitch, foil Stitch. Cold foil Stitch looking great in that angle. Really like the cold foiling, really makes the creatures pop. Also inking a Duke of Weaselton. Do we have a mirror match on our hands? We're both playing yellow and green, which is going to be Amethyst and Emerald, I think. I don't think it's Amethyst. Either way, other players running out the Flynn Rider. Flynn Rider's really strong here, especially into a yellow-green deck who don't really attack very well. Really trying to punish out your opponent for that Flynn Rider. But it looks like... Yep, we got a second Flynn Rider coming down as well into this mirror match. Yellow and green don't tend to attack very well. They tend to really like to quest. So punishing these Flynn Riders is going to be pretty brutal for either player that tries to go in. A lot of yellow cards don't have a very high attack stat. And so being able to take out this Flynn Rider in one hit is going to be a key to making sure the game plan goes smoothly. Inking a Mad Hatter here doesn't feel great. Looks like we got another Flynn and 2 Be Our Guest in hand. We're going to go ahead and sing with this Flynn. Worst case scenario, we can just run out the other one. Also probably trying to use our Be Our Guest to dig for another Mad Hatter. Looks like we got a Cusco in there, but he's not inkable. Surfer Stitch, Duke of Weaselton, and a Simba is what we're going to grab there. This can come out really clutch and come out protect our Flynn Rider in bodyguard mode already. Yep, looks like that's what we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and quest up with the Stitch, really get back. Oh no, we're attacking with the Stitch. Going to kill out the Leela. That's probably pretty smart. Just trying to maintain board presence, get more lore on the board than your opponent. Going to go ahead and ink the 5-mana Maximus, I believe that was. It might have been the 3-mana Maximus, though I believe it was the 5-1. Gonna run out the 3-mana play here for Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat is also very good. Tied up the lore on board, though our Lilo player here, our Clear Sleep player, has gone first, so they are at a bit of an advantage, even though it's a little hard to see on the screen. Ooh, having Simba saying Be Our Guest is really strong here. Just puts him in bodyguard mode immediately, gets him right where you want him to be. Looks like we've got a Hans, a Surfer Stitch, and another Duke, was that? Oh, the Mad Hatter. I believe that's a Cold Foil Mad Hatter. That looks great. Cold Foil Mad Hatter coming in clutch here. Looks like we're going to be able to run it out after inking the Cold Foil, it looks like, Mad Hatter here. Gonna go ahead and ink a Flynn Rider just in time to run out the Mad Hatter. Oh, it looks like we're... Jesus Christ, another Cold Foil just in time to spit out... Oh, right, Mad Hatter's 5 mana. I'm wrong. Yeah, spitting out the Mad Hatter off the just in time. That's quite good. Looks like he is thinking about... Yep, he's going to trade for the Flynn Rider, going ahead and discarding the Cheshire Cat out of his hand, questing with his own Flynn. Doesn't feel very pressured because of his opponent's Cheshire Cat. He's not really attacking. He doesn't care about the opponent's Cheshire Cat. He also seems to understand the matchup a little bit better, potentially, discarding his own Cheshire Cat, realizing that his opponent's not attacking into it with anything meaningful, and that the Cheshire Cat ability to kill back whatever kills it is not going to be as relevant in this specific matchup. Are going to return the Mad Hatter to hand, paying the 3 mana for it. Not singing with the Cheshire Cat, really want to get back into the game by questing with it. Really try and catch back up here. And then just passing after that. Fairly uneventful turn, especially when compared to the opponent's combo plays. But opponent doesn't have many cards in hand. Inking another Mad Hatter. All right, looks like we are going to be questing with our Simba and our Flynn, really getting into the lead here, really pushing up our advantage. Our opponent's really going to be struggling to get back into the game. They do have a lot, like the yellow player here does have a lot more cards in hand. Printing out the Hans is quite important, really able to cash back up on that 3 lore, or at least stay at parity with his opponent, or attempt to stay at parity anyways. Questing with the Cheshire Cat, just trying to get lore up. Opponent is really trying to, the Clear Sleep player here really put on the pressure. It's unclear exactly how much lore they're at because of the life counter that they're using, but it's going to be a very close game, that's for sure. Our Clear Sleep player here, I believe, can close it out in the next turn or 2 for sure, especially with that other Cheshire Cat following up. Just so much lore on board. Going for a Be Our Guest, just trying to find something here to try and even out the odds. But in yellow-green, you just don't have much hard removal. The closest thing they've got here is something like a Mother Knows Best, but that's not a character. They can't find that. Runs out the Hans, finds the Hans. Does have to ink another card, ink the Simba, and run out the Hans. If the Clear Sleep player doesn't win the game this turn, yellow player might be able to back it up, but seems unlikely. Did the Hans get into combat there? It looks like the Hans got into combat to kill out the bodyguard rat, realizing that he's not going to be able to race the opponent, has to try and deal with something here, but the bodyguard Simba really coming in clutch. Just going to quest up for a grand total of 7, I believe that is. There's no way that he can't win the game next turn at this point. He's got to be at 18 or 19 lore here. Going back to our yellow sleeve player, and unless they have like multiple Mother Knows Bests in hand right now, it's looking really rough. Checking out the Cusco, just reading that it does in fact say Ward, and conceding the game to the opponent. Doesn't have an answer for the Ward. Cusco just fell too far behind in the early game, even though they had the really nice Lilo. Just wasn't able to keep up with the speed that his opponent was playing at. Going into round 2, both players at this point know that it's a mirror match and that certain cards might not be as optimal in the matchup as others. Go ahead and inking the Maximus. Doesn't have a turn 1 play. That's pretty rough. There's a lot of really good one drops in both green and yellow that these decks want to be playing. Ooh, especially when they runs out of Lilo. Really, really punished for not having anything on board already. Luckily, they are going second, so if they can commit something like a Flynn Rider, Flynn can take out, yep, just like that. Flynn can take out a Lilo pretty easily, stays alive at least, and then can contest her quest 2 with his own quest 2, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and ink a LeFou, it looks like. And then, are we running out the Simba? Yep, running out the Bodyguard Simba. Unfortunately, that is the check to the Flynn play. This Bodyguard Simba play is just so incredibly strong. There is very, very, very few cards in the game that can beat this early game combo of Lilo into Simba. Mother Knows Best is one of the ways to slow it down at least. Yep, going to go ahead and return the Bodyguard so we can kill the Lilo. Thinking about his plays a little bit more thoroughly here. Although returning the Lilo is not awful. You could then like quest with the Flynn, but I'm going to go ahead and ink the Simba, running out another Simba in attack mode, just so that it can't be hit with anything. Gonna go ahead and ink our Hans here, run out a Cheshire Cat, really putting, and a Duke of Weaselton. Okay, so at this point, the Cheshire Cat might get a little bit more value since this player is already ahead. His opponent is kind of pressured into killing his things, and the Cheshire Cat's blink back ability might be useful here. Running a Be Our Guest off of the Simba, just a really, really incredibly powerful play to be able to use your bodyguards to sing songs. Fortunately, he's not going to really be protecting anything here because anything that comes out is going to already be untapped, but against this matchup where he doesn't have very good attackers, he's unlikely to be punished for it. The 2-3 stat line here is doing a lot of work. Looks like, yep, we're just going to run out the Hans. It looks like I might have seen a just-in-time and potentially a Cusco in there, but maybe he's just holding that for later turns. Yellow sleeve player here is going to go ahead and ink his Hans and run out his own Cusco. Yep, just being able to be that one turn ahead on the Cusco drop, especially in these mirror matches. The first player advantage is so strong in these mirror matches. You're just going to quest for 5, it looks like there on that play. Really forces opponent into hitting him. Going to ink the Surfer Stitch. Realizes the game's not going long enough for that thing to matter. Runs out his own Cusco. And then it's thinking about potentially trying to trade off. It looks like the guy in yellow sleeves is not playing the Simba, so just being able to attack into the Duke and keep him alive, attack into the Flynn, keep him alive, does have to discard a card, so the Flynn still trades for a card, which is why this Flynn is always so good. Even if it doesn't actually take out whatever it's fighting in combat, he's always trading at least 1 for 1 with the card out of the hand. Makes the Flynn incredibly strong. Just going to go ahead and run out, a second Cusco. That is just absolutely brutal as he quests for 5 here. 5 should put him up over 10, definitely for sure. Probably in the low teens range is what I'd be guessing. Really threatening to win game next turn with 8 lore on the board. Really forcing some awkward plays from the clear sleeve player. The Hans and the Simba can trade into the Cusco, but like if you trade into the Cusco, your guys die. If you trade into the Cheshire Cat, your guys die. Running out the Duke just as extra body, doing a Mother Knows Best on the Cheshire Cat, really just trying to slow him down, but unfortunately these Cuscos are the threat here. Being able to quest for 3 and have Ward is so brutal. Looks like he has almost certainly taken him off game though, because it looks like he's about to start questing. Quests for a grand total of 7 here, it looks like, yes. Really also threatening game. So at this point, it appears to be that if the player who has all these Cuscos on the board can't take out some threats, they won't be able to win the game right here and won't be able to stop the opponent from winning the game unless they can take out some important threats. Runs out a Genie. This Genie, I believe, returns a card to the hand. It looks like he's going to bounce back the Hans, which will heal it a little bit, but that's okay. It takes a 3-quester off the board, potentially stopping the opponent from winning the game, especially if they can take out that Simba. Should be able to win on 4. Doesn't look like they don't even need it. Going to go ahead and quest for 6. Really putting the pressure on the opponent here. 2 Ward Cuscos. Looks like our clear sleeve player here doesn't have the damage to take out both of them. Even if they did, they still have to deal with the Genie, which I believe this Genie quests for 2. The yellow sleeve player really seems like they've locked it up. Yep, looks like we're getting a concession out here. Yep, the yellow sleeve player has taken that game, running into a game 3. Very exciting, especially in a mirror match. Things you're thinking about in this mirror match, going first, incredibly important. Really trying to get a Lilo down early. You're probably hard mulliganing for a Lilo or a Simba if you've got it. Those Mad Hatters and Cuscos in the late game are what's really coming in clutch, just to be able to rush your opponent. You're not really doing a lot of trading for the board. Stuff like Rapunzel's probably not going to be super relevant. You really want to be hitting your early turn plays. Yep, just offering the 1 mana 2/2s here for both players. the Stitch and the Duke of Weaselton. Going ahead and inking a Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter loses a lot of viability in this matchup because you're not really doing much attacking. Flynn Rider coming down early and basically doing the Mad Hatter's job as we turn the Lumineers back on. Just resetting the life totals here. Making sure everything's working good. Going ahead and passing back, inking up another Mad Hatter, running out another Flynn Rider. Just really trying to keep up pace here. So we have the option to go ahead and trade for our opponent's Duke of Weaselton, but we're opting to quest as well and keep pressure up on them. Both players kind of opting to just go for a rush and ignore the opponent style game plan. Running out a Lilo for 1 mana, questing up for 3 here. We'd like to see a Simba followed up by that, but unfortunately it looks like the mana in the clear sleeve player's hand is slightly off. We're not unable to get full use out of their mana that turn. This could be a minor breakpoint in the game, especially if we're about to tap 3 here for something a little more impactful, something like a Cheshire Cat that can quest for 2 as well, has a little harder time dying, and can trade for something back on the back end when we get to the late game and you're forced to do so. Questing up for 3 here as well, going back to the clear sleeve player. Just trying to be as efficient with your mana as possible in these mirror matches is incredibly important. Not letting your opponent get too far ahead. Yep, I have to return the Lilo back to hand just to keep up on pressure. Actually, I think that was returning the Cheshire Cat, yes. As we now quest for 5 with our own Lilo, putting our opponent a little bit farther behind here. The first turn play, especially if you can land a 1-drop in these mirror matches, is also incredibly important. You kind of know what your opponent's answers are to your threats because you're probably playing those answers. In this case, there's not a lot of answers. Mother's Knows Best is really the only removal spell here. Just forcing to get our Flynn into combat and getting the Stitch into combat as well, taking out their Flynn Rider. Really just trying to do some board control here, trading fairly favorably, following up with a Rapunzel. Ooh, getting the nice heal, getting the draw 1 card off the back end. Not the end of the world. A fairly low impact Rapunzel, but even when she's low impact, she's still crazy. A 1/5 that quests for 2 and draws you a card. Incredible stats. Really like this card. Gonna have to trade back for the Flynn. Just deciding what we're discarding here. Discarding a Hans. Ooh, that tells a lot about what's in the hand. Probably running out of Cusco right here. Ooh, a Rapunzel of our own. Trading Rapunzels. Drawing a new card, just trying to fill up. Going ahead and inking a card down, running out another Lilo. Looks like we are empty-handed on the clear player's turn. Looks like yellow players consistently had more cards in hand this entire game, either playing around Flynn Riders a little bit better, or just maybe having a higher top end so they're not able to run out all their cards as early as possible. If the yellow sleeve player here can come back from this, they'll definitely have a certain advantage just on cards in hand as we run out the Cusco to really pressure our opponents. Potentially have to take out that Duke, but you really want to save Stitch to take out Lilo here, so you might just be questing with it, but then it falls weakness to the Rapunzel. Just going ahead and offering the trade now on the Duke with the Lilo, or sorry, with the Stitch, saying Rapunzel can deal with Lilo on the following turn because she's got more health, and we'll just keep the Cusco up for questing. Almost certainly what's happening here. Ooh, a Mother Knows Best on the Rapunzel is a little risky. You have to do it because you can't get rid of the Cusco with it, but it does reset the Rapunzel's enter battlefield trigger. It does force the opponent to answer Lilo awkwardly with their Cusco, or else they're just going to fall behind. Looks like, yep, they're going in for that trade right there. Just seeing what we're going to follow up with, potentially a Hans, but yep, or you just run the Rapunzel back, just refills itself, is what felt so bad about that Mother Knows Best. Inking another card, running out a 2-mana card, running out of Simba, running out another Flynn. Another Flynn is still incredible. Our Cusco's not very pressured. Our opponent really only has the Rapunzel. You know there's no rush cards in these colors, so you're not really worried about that. What they have on board is what they can do to hit you, and so, especially when Cusco has Ward, it's almost unkillable in this matchup. You'll notice that I think 0 Cuscos have died this entire best of 3, because it's just so hard to take out in this mirror match where you have such limited removal options. Running out of Hans to really put pressure in on the back end. Very important. It looks like our yellow sleeve player is running away with this, sending back the Rapunzel back to the opponent's hand. They have the option to swing into the Flynn, rips a card out of their hand anyways, or they're just going to draw back with their Rapunzel. Don't have many good options. They can swing the Stitch into the Rapunzel. Yeah, I think they're seeing that they have returned their opponent's Rapunzel to hand, and that they are trying to play around the Stitch, ramming into their guys and drawing more cards as possible. Yeah, just talking about this option here. Yep, I think they're just going to go ahead and quest up. Just really put pressure on the opponent, questing for 7 in this one turn. They have 10 lore available to quest with on board. Unless the opponent here has multiple a Mother Knows Best here. It's looking really rough for our clear sleeve player here in the mirror match. Looks like he's got some play. Yep, just doing the Rapunzel to try and draw more cards up. Just trying to find an answer. But on 1 mana, doesn't have it and is forced to concede the game to the opponent's overwhelming board. Really good showing from both players here. As the players go over their final thoughts on the matchup, I'm going to go over some of mine. These decks are incredibly powerful. The green decks are very strong, but as you can see in this matchup here, you really lack in removal. I think that a lot of these decks should be playing cards like Stampede to keep up with their cards that are doing minimal amounts of damage. Stampede is not incredible removal, but does the job when you really need it to, like these decks tend to. You saw these players really running into the lack of removal problem. Make sure to pack removal in your decks when you're building Lorcana, folks. You're going to need it in certain matchups, and this is definitely one of them. If you guys like this gameplay, keep your eyes here on the channel. We got plenty more coming to you, brought to you by IRL Cards. Plenty more in-person gameplay, plenty more deck techs and deck theories videos coming your way. Keep your eyes here on the channel, and we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.